What's going on, guys? I'm bringing you my 2019 Stanley Cup playoff predictions, and we'll actually be comparing these to a simulation in NHL 19. Now, last year, my predictions didn't go so well. My personal opinion, I think we'll be seeing Ovechkin's first ever Stanley Cup. Winner of the Stanley Cup is going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. As you guys can see there, I had Tampa Bay winning the Stanley Cup, but the year before that, as you saw, I actually had Washington winning the Cup. So I was basically a year early on Washington. I'm thinking maybe last year was a year early on Tampa. So as you guys want to see, I have Tampa winning the Stanley Cup. I'll show you all of my picks here. So starting off in the first round, Western Conference, we have Calgary and Colorado. Personally, I think they both have stick first lines, but Calgary has a bit more forward depth as well. Their defense is a lot better. Goaltending's probably about equal. I'm really not a huge fan of either of their goaltending, so I'm going to take Calgary, obviously. Finished first in the West for a reason. Now, San Jose and Vegas, that's a very, very tough second-round matchup. Obviously, the Western Conference champions in Vegas. Now, San Jose probably has some of the best veteran leadership, I guess you'd call it, in the NHL. They also have very good forward depth. I think I might like their forward depth as much as any team in the playoffs. Defense, I mean, Burns and Carlson. Carlson's going to be back, I heard, for the first round. In regards to goaltending, though, I definitely like Flower a bit more than Jones. Having said that, I do think San Jose is going to beat the defending Western Conference champs there, although it should be a really good series. I think for sure at least 6, maybe 7 games. Now, Nashville, Dallas. Dallas has gotten pretty hot here. Ben Bishop looked really good, but Nashville, I really like the 2 moves they made at the deadline. I guess actually 3. Granlund, Simmons, and Boyle just make that forward depth so much better. Kind of like San Jose, Yossi and Subban. Then you have Ekholm, Ellis behind them. Such good defensive depth. Rinne the starter. He's not playing well. Saros is a very good backup, so I think Nashville takes that. Obviously, Dallas top line, if it's on fire, if Bishop goes God mode, you never know, but I think Nashville takes it. Now, Winnipeg, St. Louis. It's either that or San Jose, Vegas. I think it's going to be the closest series in the West, as St. Louis has just been on fire. They were last in the NHL, what was it, January 24th or something, and they ended up actually finishing with the exact same amount of points as Winnipeg, I'm pretty sure, so just shows you how good they've played the last few months. Obviously, big reason for that is Jordan Binnington has just been insane. So I think more than any other team, Binnington can steal a series for St. Louis if he keeps playing how he has. Now, playoff hockey is different than regular season hockey, so we'll see if he can kind of keep it going. Personally, I think Winnipeg just edges this one out. I think that will almost for sure go 7 games. I think it's going to be a very good series. Now, moving on to the East, I'm glad to see Columbus get in. I really did not want them to miss the playoffs after adding Duchesne to Zingle. I felt like all the GMs would just be scared to make moves at the deadline. So, happy they got in. I was really hoping, though, they would have been the first wild card and played Washington instead. Had a rematch there from last year, as I think Tampa's going to beat them. Tampa's just the juggernaut this year. They're either the best or second best regular season team of all time. I forget which one. Either way, they're insane. So, as happy as I am Columbus made the playoffs for the deadline moves they made, I see them again getting knocked out in the first round. So after this season, I think the Blue Jackets are still going to be searching for their first playoff series win. Now, Boston-Toronto, I think I said this last year as well. This is going to be the series of the first round. I believe last year I had Toronto winning in 7, ended up being Boston that won in 7. I was looking at all the stats and stuff, and it just seems like Boston has Toronto's number. They just always get them in the playoffs. I think the regular season matchup, it's 3-1 for Boston. The trolling on Twitter, even, they're already in Toronto's head. For me, it's 50-50, and I think Boston having that home ice advantage might literally be the decider. Goes to 7 again, and Boston gets it done at home. I feel bad for Leafs fans. I feel like if you lose to Boston 2 years in a row in the first round, it's going to be kind of like what Washington had happening to them with Pittsburgh, but Washington did end up winning the Stanley Cup, so maybe the same thing will happen for Toronto in the future. Now, next one here, you have Washington, Carolina. Kind of similar to Columbus. I'm glad to see Carolina get in. Honestly, would have been happy for them or Montreal, whoever made it. I think the Stanley Cup champs, though, or the defending Stanley Cup champs, are going to be too much for Carolina. I think Carolina's a wild card team, if you look at the roster clearly, where Washington is the defending Stanley Cup champ for a reason. Holtby's one of the best goalies. You got Carlson on your number 1 D-man. Ovi, Kuznetsov, Backstrom. I think it's just going to be too much for Carolina in a 7-game series. And then in the final matchup there, the Islanders and the Penguins. Obviously good for Islanders fans. You lose Tavares, still make the playoffs. That's very impressive. Their goalies are playing awesome. But I think the Penguins are going to just be too much for them. Crosby and Malkin in the playoffs are a next level of Crosby and Malkin. Same with Kessel. He's a point per game, maybe better in the playoffs. Their defense, I think Dumoulin's coming back. Murray, obviously he's been a bit shaky this season, but you definitely see him turning around in the playoffs. I think Islanders definitely put up a fight, but I think that one will probably go 6. Penguins taking it at home there. So that is my first round. As you can see, I have all the favorites except for the Penguins. Obviously, it's a bit boring, but it's just my personal opinion what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to stick to it. So second round here, you have Calgary, San Jose. This one I was thinking about for a long time. I think they're both two really good teams in the West. I think in terms of offense, Calgary has the better first line, but San Jose has the better depth. Defense, I think it's very close, but San Jose having Karlsson and Burns gives them a slight edge. And then goaltending, Jones hasn't been the greatest this year, so really I think goaltending's about even too. I think it's just San Jose gets it done. I think they have the veterans. I don't know what it is. I feel like Joe Thornton's going to want to just win a cup this year and retire, and there's going to be some magic going on. And that's just basically my reason for picking them. Calgary's a bit younger. They're still going to have some time to be back here. Now we have a rematch here of Nashville and Winnipeg. I think last year I was tossing and turning, couldn't decide if I wanted Winnipeg or Nashville. Originally I wanted Winnipeg, then I saw everyone was taking Winnipeg, so I'm like, screw it, I'm going to take Nashville. Of course Winnipeg wins. This year, I think Nashville gets revenge. I think Nashville takes it. Nashville's definitely been the better team of late than Winnipeg. Obviously, if Laine gets hot, that could be huge for Winnipeg, but I like Nashville's forward depth slightly more, although they both have really good forward depth. Josh Morrissey's supposed to be back this month, so I think that'll be a big deciding factor too. More so probably for the first round. If Winnipeg doesn't have Morrissey, I could see St. Louis beating them for sure, but if he's back in time, should be able to beat the Blues. This one, though, I think, again, goes 7 games, and I think Nashville gets the revenge. So, kind of cool here, actually, San Jose-Nashville matchup. Both those teams, of course, the ones the Penguins beat for their back-to-back Stanley Cups. Now, second round, you actually have another rematch here, Tampa Bay and Boston. Of course, last year, Tampa beat Boston, and I think the same thing happens this year. Tampa Bay is just too good. They have the best offense in the league, in my opinion, by far. I mean, it's pretty hard to argue otherwise. Defense, you can argue they have the #1 defenseman in the league in Hedman. You can argue they have the #1 goalie in the league in Vasilevsky. They have very good defensive depth. They're just stacked top to bottom. I like Boston's team. Sick first line, pretty good depth. Defense, goaltending, it's just, I feel like Tampa Bay has everything they have and then some. And then, of course, you have another classic matchup here. Lots of classic matchups in my predictions. Washington-Pittsburgh again in the semifinals. Pittsburgh usually has Washington's number, of course, last year. Capitals finally beat them, went on to win the Cup. I think, again, you have another revenge tale. I think Pittsburgh takes this one. I think for sure that probably goes 7 games as well, or close to it. So, again, for this one, I think maybe just the fire, the drive's not there. Washington got the Cup last year. Maybe the same thing happened to Penguins after they won their second. And I like Penguins in this playoffs. I feel like Crosby has 100 points. I don't know, I feel like Crosby just finding another level this year's playoffs. So, some sick matchups, I think, in the conference finals. San Jose, Nashville, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh. The San Jose, Nashville one, this is another one I was trying so hard to decide between. Looking at their offense, I think they both have a ton of depth, like I said, especially after the Predators added Granlund and Simmons at the deadline. In regards to their defense, I feel like they probably have the 2 top defenses in the West. Goaltending, though, you definitely have to give it to the Predators. I think Rinne's a better goalie than Jones. Having said that, again, I think San Jose is going to have some magic happening with Thornton, Pavelski, Burns, and Karlsson on the same team. I feel like one of those guys is going to be going off. Like, last time Karlsson was in the playoffs, he absolutely carried Ottawa, so much so there was guys voting for him to win the Conn Smythe when they got knocked out in the conference final. So if Karlsson can capture a bit of that, and on his off nights Burns is fire, I think San Jose gets it done, makes it back to the Stanley Cup final. What would that be, like 3 years later? And then conference finals here, obviously, as much as I like Pittsburgh and Crosby being hot, I don't think they're going to stand up to Tampa Bay. Like I've already said, Tampa Bay is literally one of the best NHL teams of all time for a reason. I feel like over a 7-game series, law of averages, Tampa should be the first to win 4 games. Last year it went to 7 with Washington. They got unlucky. They lost it. I think this year it's like a revenge tour. I think they're going all the way. As much as I like Crosby, Malkin, Stamkos and Kucherov can match up. Then they have more forward depth after that. They have a probably better #1 defenseman in Hedman over Letang. I like their defensive depth a bit better. Vasilevsky, I'm a huge fan of. So I think that's for sure a 7-game series. I think if both of these conference finals happen, they both should be 7-game series. And then you have Tampa Bay and San Jose there in the Stanley Cup final. You guys obviously know who I'm going with. Is that going to go 7 games? I'd hope so, but either way, I see Tampa Bay winning this one. I feel like offense, San Jose has a lot of depth too, just like Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay's high end is even better, which kind of gives them the edge. Defense, you could give it to San Jose for sure, but then Tampa Bay's goaltending, I believe in Vasilevsky just way more than I do Jones. I feel like Jones, for this to happen, Jones is going to have to play like Jones usually plays. This season's been kind of rocky for him. As long as he plays decent, I think the rest of San Jose can make this happen. Again, I'm just kind of going on a hunch here with San Jose being the team in the West. I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to believe it. Those are my picks, guys. Again, I'm sure a lot of you are going to be disagreeing with probably every single matchup, but that's, of course, the point. It's fun looking at everyone's matchups, seeing their reasons why and stuff. I love doing these. I think they're so fun, especially looking back and seeing how badly you got it wrong, or maybe how much you got it right. Also, guys, I'm hosting my own league this year. A bunch of you guys asked for this, so I figured why not, should be fun. As you can see there, it is titled TacTixHD, so should be pretty easy to find. Someone's already actually made a bracket. Jumbo Joe Redemption, so they're along the same thought process as me. If you guys want to, just enter your bracket into this one. If you already made a bracket, you can simply just copy it, put it in this one. My plan is to have something for the winner. I'm not sure what yet, so make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, as I'll probably ask whoever the winner is to send me proof that that is them. And then, of course, I can contact you, get you something for the prize. I'm thinking probably like a gift card to somewhere. Nothing crazy, but at least something for the winner. So if you guys are interested in that, of course, join the league. But now, guys, we're actually going to get on to the NHL 19 simulation and see kind of what results that gives us. And for the playoff simulation, guys, we're, of course, using the most authentic settings. So period length 20 minutes, difficulty superstar, game style full sim. Also, I've gone through and made sure every single team's lines are authentic. So the 4 forward lines, 3 defensive lines, and power play 1 and 2 should be true to real life. As well, I've made sure all the injured players are scratched, unless they're supposed to come back during the first or second round. Then I made them healthy. So hopefully just gives us kind of the most authentic result. And here's a look at the playoff matchups in games. So again, I'm just hoping we get realistic results. I think last year they had Boston beating Winnipeg in the Stanley Cup final. Washington, they had as a first round exit. I think Vegas won the first round, was out in the second. So hopefully this one's a bit more true to real life. I know the year before that they did have Penguins winning, which of course was their second, the back-to-back Stanley Cup. So we'll get started with the simulation now and see what happens. So I just sent through the first round of the playoffs, guys, and Ovi absolutely went off. He's got 11 points there with 9 goals in 5 games. Obviously, Washington beating Carolina. So Calgary, Colorado was actually a 7-game series. Calgary won that. San Jose beat Vegas in 6, and Nashville beat Dallas in 5, which are actually the exact outcomes I predicted for both series. St. Louis, though, beat Winnipeg in 7, which, like I said, I could honestly see happening. I really feel like that series is going all the way. Now, Tampa Bay there beat Columbus in 7, so closer than I expected. Toronto beats Boston in 7. Toronto actually had a 3-2 lead. Boston tied it. I thought maybe they'd come back, but Toronto holds on there. Washington, of course, won in 5, and then Pittsburgh there beat the Islanders in 6, which I think is also exact thing I had happening. So far, pretty similar to my predictions. We'll see what happens here in the second round. And we're on to the conference finals now, guys. As you can see there, Ovi's got 16 points in 11 games, 11 goals. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't enough. Pittsburgh actually beat Washington there in 6. Tampa beat Toronto in 5. Calgary beat San Jose in 5, and St. Louis beat Nashville in 6. So the exact same Eastern Conference final as we predicted. The West, though, Calgary, St. Louis. Obviously, I had St. Louis out in the first, Calgary out in the second. So we'll see potential rematch here of the 2004 Stanley Cup final with Calgary, Tampa. That'd be kind of cool. And here's your Stanley Cup matchup, guys. The Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Calgary Flames. Phil Kessel's the current playoff scoring leader, 19 points in 19 games. Pittsburgh actually rallied back hard. Tampa had a 3-1 series lead on them, and the Penguins won 3 straight. Pretty much the opposite of Calgary's conference final as they swept the St. Louis Blues. I thought St. Louis would at least win 1 game, so let's see what happens here in the Stanley Cup final. So the Penguins there win the first game. I mean, Kessel's just red hot. He's up a point per game. I mean, in real life, he's actually averages about a point per game in the playoffs. Calgary, though, does take game 3, so they're not getting swept here. They actually take both games at home. I believe Penguins, or actually no, the Calgary Flames. So both teams have won their away games. And there we go. Penguins are up 3-2 now. Let's see what happens. Game 6. And there you go. The Stanley Cup champions are the Pittsburgh Penguins, taking up the Calgary Flames there in 6 games. That would be dynasty in my mind. 3 Stanley Cups in 4 years. Plus, of course, they had the back-to-back Stanley Cup appearances in 08 and 09, losing to the Red Wings in 08, and then winning in 2009. Kessel here with 26 points in 25 games, you gotta figure, is probably the Conn Smythe winner. That'd be pretty sick. Malkin 24, Crosby 22, so all those guys playing quite well. Gaudreau 19. Ovechkin, even though he's out in the second round, played half the games. He was top 5 in scoring. He played so well. Let's see here. How did Matt Murray do? Obviously, he's going to have the most wins. .929. Richard actually, .936, even better. Yeah, 2 goals against, much better stats. I mean, Vasilevsky 1.98. Binnington there, even though he's an 82, he actually continued to play like himself in real life. That's sick. So, .94 save percentage and a 1.86 goals against. Mrazek's not too great. Binnington was the best there for a starter, and his save percentage would have had to be the best as well, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's insane. So, kind of cool. Even though he's an 82, in-game he still played God mode like he has been. Again, if he does do that in real life, I could see them for sure getting past Winnipeg, and then maybe even the Predators as well. So, right there you have it. The Pittsburgh Penguins winning the Stanley Cup again. I mean, I love seeing greatness happen, so I would not be opposed to that at all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, both my predictions and the NHL 19 simulation. Let me know what you guys thought about both in the comments section. If you guys did enjoy this one, leave that thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed yet, please do that. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.